So I'm supposed to say a few closing remarks, and I'm supposed to help sell this clock. But it's been a long day, and I've decided I'm not going to do that. Instead, I am going to invite up here someone that you all know, the only one person who is ambitious, creative, and crazy enough to pull off this conference. You all know who I'm talking about. Please, Paul Jebley, where are you? Come up here, come sell this clock, come say a few words to your people.
Thank you. Okay. Cheeky. Hi, everyone. What to say on the spot. Okay. It was a labor of love, first of all. And actually, Chloe or Eva, can you please put up that slide of the trees that we were going to use at the beginning? But decide not. Thank you. Actually, a quick round of applause for Eva and Chloe and everyone who volunteered to put this together, because they did a remarkable job. They really did. I mean, we did it. It took a lot of patience and a lot of coffee. Speaking of coffee, I was at Starbucks, my usual haunt, last Thursday, on the day that Hong Kong recorded its first day of 0 cases for the first time in 7 months. Yeah. And I ordered my usual coffee, which is a cold brew nitro. I call it jet fuel. As some of you know, I function off of a finely tuned mixture of coffee and CBD, but that's a discussion for another time. So I ordered my coffee, and I sat down, as I usually do, and the Starbucks employee eventually brought over my coffee. And she brought it over in a nice glass on a wood tray. Nothing unusual if it was pre-pandemic. But it turns out I had not had a coffee in a glass at this Starbucks for well over a year. They'd been serving their coffee in plastic. And it was a small thing, but it felt different. And at the same time, it felt vaguely familiar. It felt normal, and it felt natural. This felt normal and natural. The masks notwithstanding, the partitions notwithstanding, a lot of things notwithstanding. It's normal and natural. We're naturally social creatures, and commerce and aviation are social. And so, thank you. Nature. Nature's a marvelous thing, isn't it? Isn't it amazing what nature can do if we let nature do what it's supposed to do? So, case in point, the trees. Some of you may recall this is a carbon negative event, and it actually is a carbon negative event. We planted 150 trees, 1 tree for every single delegate in attendance, in a place called Limpopo, South Africa. Now, these trees were planted in November. Some of you may recall this conference was last supposed to be held in November, but we got dance clustered out of that one, and then I spent some time chasing the Singapore bubble. Anyway, here we are. 5 months later, don't check my math. 5 months later, these trees were planted November 27th, 2020. These beautiful kids, and here we are, May 31st, 2021. This photo was actually taken yesterday. And those are the very same trees. This little, what's it called, a treeling, a seedling, whatever it's called. Look how small it is, even relative to the child's hands. Those are the trees today. I'm sorry it's not a great photo, but you can see those trees are taller than that man. Nature. Those trees, they survived and they flourished because they were allowed to. And with a little bit of luck, we'll survive and we'll flourish. And so will aviation. Because evolution demands it. We have to never give up, and we have to rage against the dying of hope. because evolution demands it. Speaking of evolution, all things must evolve or die. All things change in time. On that note, I made a decision earlier today, and I'd like to announce it. As some of you know, I have a little tendency to make impulsive decisions and announce them and then just kind of figure it out later on. But CHAPS. CHAPS dates back to the 1990s. And when I brought it back to life 7 years ago as just a social function to promote togetherness and promote the aviation industry in this wonderful city, I didn't really think of it at the time, but I don't like the acronym. It's an acronym that belongs in history. And so, in the interest of evolution, CHAPS is now going to be Astonish. Because what's more astonishing than aviation, right? And this wouldn't have happened, none of this would have happened without all these fantastic sponsors and all of our partners. There's too many to list off, and I won't, don't worry. But, I mean, they could have just said no to me, and this never would have happened. And each of you, this never would have happened without you either. So, from the bottom of my heart, thank you. I got to sell a clock, don't I? Thank you. I'm going to sell a clock. We're out of time, so I'm going to sell the clock. I don't think it was mentioned today, but we raised over $200,000 for Mother's Choice. I believe the final tally is like $205,000. And we raised around another 130,000 rand for the Nelson Mandela School of Law in South Africa, where we're going to start an aviation bursary.